Hi, I'm Danielle, and welcome back to my channel where I talk about whatever it is I feel like. And this evening we have another Unwinding Thoughts. I just got back from a long day at the theater slash the movies. So we're going to talk about one of the movies that I saw today, and one of them was Her Private Hell. If you may recall, that was on my watch list for July. I'd put it on my watch list because I had seen a trailer of it or like a teaser of a trailer and I thought it looked fascinating and I decided I wanted to go in kind of blind. So here are just like my thoughts and kind of like a light review of this film. Um and we're going to start off by reading I have this here, the plot summary of this. So basically, the story of this is it's set in a futuristic metropolis and it follows an actress named Elle and a soldier named Private K, whose stories intertwine as they search for family amidst a mysterious, deadly entity called the Leatherman. Um, and that is more or less what happens. This film, I I thought that it was stylized really cool. Like it definitely the director had a vision for the film. I just think the vision was really muddy and really incoherent at times. I mentioned that I went into this film basically blind and I left basically blind. Like I pride myself on being an intelligent young lady. I don't need to be spoon fed when I see movies. However, this one, they kind of went a step beyond not spoon feeding me to not even giving me any food and saying, actually, what you're going to do is you're going to rummage around in this kitchen and you're going to make the meal that I think we want you to eat. But I'm not going to tell you what that meal is and I'm not going to tell you the ingredients you need. But cool, you'll be able to make that meal. And it was really confusing. So as I said, it's a story of a young actress who is trying to find her missing father, but along the way, there's this kind of mist thing that is in the town, and a evil entity named the Leatherman who is killing young women. And in the middle of all that, she has her own kind of family drama where her best friend is now her stepmother because her best friend fell in love with her father. And I think that is enough of a story. The young actress, she's in an acting family, like her father is also an actor or also in the entertainment industry. Having that happen, having that be a thing, and then having your best friend and your relationship kind of turning because they used to be your best friend and now they're your stepmom, something that we saw in The Polygamist, executed a little better actually, which is crazy to say. But we see that little dynamic and that shift. And that is, I think, enough for a movie. I think that's enough for a movie. Seeing that dynamic change, all of that go on, I think that's enough for a movie. Add in the element of this evil entity named the Leatherman who's also coming in and slashing things. I think including that into the film I just mentioned, I feel as that still works. I think there's a way to kind of make it seem as though Leatherman kind of preys on broken dynamics and tension, and he typically appears when there is just this thick tension in the air. I think there's a way to have him kind of incorporated in that way, where now you're relying on this woman who you thought you knew, but as it turns out, you don't know her as well as you thought you did. Plus, this other underlying romantic current that the two of them have together, especially because the best friend slash stepmom is in a weird open relationship. I feel as though there is a way to include a slasher into that. Where we then lose me is the Special K soldier of it all. Private K. Special K is cereal. Where we lose me is the Private K soldier of it all because that to me didn't connect. He was looking for his daughter and he was like going on a murderous rampage apparently to do it because I think Leatherman had stolen his daughter. So he was told by these two. ethereal beings that almost seemed like aliens. He was told by them that he would be able to find his daughter once Leatherman was defeated, and that makes sense. So he's in a separate movie, but it's also still the same movie. I actually feel as though Leatherman doesn't work in the first one. It only works in his movie. And their movie of this fraught tension inside a family is a separate movie, and they tried to make them go together, and I don't think it worked. The other thing about this movie, remember when I said they didn't spoon feed you anything and you basically had to go rummage around in a pantry for the meal that they want you to have, but they're not giving you any instructions on how to get that meal? There was so little dialogue in this film, and it did not serve the plot well to have such little dialogue, because then you're just watching Sophie Thatcher and Charles Melton give like broody faces at the camera, and meanwhile, we don't know what's going on because no one's spoken for like 30 minutes. Um, there have been films that I've seen outside of like a silent film where there is minimal talking, but it serves the plot because you can tell the inner turmoil of the character. I want to say Passing is one of them. I saw Passing, and that was a really good film with minimal talking. There is a way to do minimal talking in a film. This just wasn't it, because it all felt very style and no substance, unfortunately. And I wanted it to feel really good and substantial. Like it that's why the trailer really got me. It looked so beautiful and it looked bright and neon. And as it turns out, it was really dark and neon and then flashing lights and then broody Sophie Thatcher. And the score was nice, but it didn't serve the film well because the film wasn't strong enough without the score. Let me see if I can explain that in a better way. It was almost like the music was trying to manipulate me into feeling things that the movie wasn't allowing me to feel. Like the music was trying to like undercurrent and score things that they were thinking were sad or things that were supposed to be tense and that type of situation. But the movie itself wasn't showing me any tension or any sadness or anything like that. It was just kind of like, again, beautiful photos and flashing lights and neon and gorgeous people, but I'm not getting sadness. But then the music is saying, you're supposed to be sad right now. And it kind of, that doesn't work to me. There were a couple of scenes that I think went really well. I think the scene where Ellie and her stepmom, there is again a lot of tension between them because as it's revealed, it seems as though they used to have a more physical relationship, but that had to stop, of course, because the friend became involved with the dad, so of course that stops. And there's still a little bit of tension between them, and it seems as though Ellie it likes her best friend romantically. And there was a scene where she's kind of like sitting on top of her and almost choking her with something. I won't give that spoiler, but that scene I think worked really well to really kind of like that's when you're seeing the tension between those two explode. Unfortunately, the tension kind of didn't build up well enough beforehand. So, yeah. And then the other scene that I think worked really well ish was the scene where Ellie is having a romantic sexual encounter with the man, and at the same time her friend is getting slashed, and those two kind of reach climax at the same time. That scene I think worked well visually at the very least. Again, people were kind of just there, and I wasn't understanding anyone's motivation. I wasn't understanding a lot. I wasn't understanding a lot. This, again, style over substance. This was a really pretty film, but it just. mm. So, yeah. Do I have any more thoughts about this one? Other than that, my best friend and I saw it with her. We were just confused. I think we both left with different theories as to who we thought General K was in the middle of it. I thought General K was like a younger version of her father, and then that person, and her father was also Leatherman because he had done so many heinous things to get his daughter back, Ellie. And I thought maybe that made him become a manifestation of Leatherman. I don't think that was true. I don't think that was what the film was at all. She thought that Leatherman was a different entity, but I think she also thought that General K was her dad, just a younger version, almost like a flashback. Again, that wasn't the case because we don't know. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this movie was just very frustrating because I could tell that the director has a vision. I don't think they know how to execute it just yet. They seem like a big ideas person, but no one was there to be like, hey, this doesn't make any sense. Like, this movie doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make sense in a frustrating way instead of like a fun way. Like, one of my favorite cult movies is The Room. That movie doesn't make sense. A lot of things don't make sense in there. There are lots of non sequiturs. There's a lot of plot points that are like dropped. There's Swiss cheese holes in there all over. That doesn't make sense as a movie, but it's fun. And I think this one doesn't make sense, but it's not fun. You're just kind of like, I stupid? Like, I don't know what's going on. It's just frustrating more so than anything. So yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts on this film. I wish I had better thoughts because I was excited to see this. Um, but for me, I very rarely have a bad time at the movie. This wasn't a bad time. It just was the kind of a frustrating one where I was like, I got about halfway through and I was like, I could be watching something else, can't I? I wish I were watching something else actually. So yeah, maybe if anyone else sees it, please let me know your thoughts because yeah. But that's going to be it for my unwinding thoughts. I really have nothing else to say because I'm so confused by what happened. And not a fun confused like The Room. I'm just confused. That's it. And I'll see you next time I have something else to talk about. Bye.